Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're zeroing in on literally the lifeblood of modern organizational behavior, global teams. How do we actually survive and thrive in a completely borderless workplace?
Because in today's highly interconnected business world, organizations just aren't boxed in by geographical borders anymore. You could have your headquarters in one nation, manufacturing in another, and research somewhere else entirely. And this shifting landscape really forces us to ask a pretty critical question. What actually happens when your team is spread across the entire globe? How do we pull off collaborating across totally different cultures, multiple languages, and totally conflicting time zones?
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We are covering 1. The rise of global teams, 2. The anatomy of a global team, 3. The global team advantage, 4. Navigating borderless challenges, and finally, number 5, leading across the globe.
Let's start with Section 1, the rise of global teams.
So as businesses expand internationally, what they need in terms of talent completely changes. And a global team isn't just a fancy word for remote work, right? It's a group of people in totally different countries or regions collaborating via digital tools to hit shared organizational objectives. And often, they never actually meet face to face. Instead of being stuck hiring in just one zip code, organizations are weaponizing this setup to recruit the absolute best talent worldwide. They're mixing diverse perspectives to supercharge decision-making and just drastically increase innovation.
Let's think about a modern smartphone launch to put this into perspective. You've got the design team sitting in the US, software developers writing code over in India, hardware engineers stationed in Taiwan, the actual manufacturing happening in China, and all the marketing operations running out of Europe and the Middle East. It's like a giant puzzle where you have different experts, literally thousands of kilometers apart, functioning completely seamlessly as one unified machine.
Which brings us to Section 2, Anatomy of a Global Team.
Right, so a global team is basically defined by 4 distinct characteristics. First up is geographical dispersion, meaning members operate remotely from multiple global locations. Second is cultural diversity. Every single team member is bringing a unique cultural background to the table, with totally different beliefs, values, and work habits. Third, we have time zone differences. And fourth, an absolute 100% reliance on virtual communication. Global teams have to lean heavily on digital platforms just to keep collaboration going across all that physical distance.
But here's the massive logistical hurdle. 9 a.m. in India is late evening in the US. You've got someone drinking their morning coffee while their teammate is literally getting ready for bed. Because everybody is working from completely different countries, just coordinating a basic check-in becomes a logistical nightmare. Managers have to be incredibly intentional with scheduling so that one particular team isn't perpetually stuck taking meetings in their pajamas. It takes a deep level of mutual respect to pull it off. Moving on to Section 3, the global team advantage. Now, the absolute superpower here is 24/7 productivity. It's what we call the follow the sun model. When one team finishes their workday and finally logs off, another team in a completely different hemisphere is just waking up and starting theirs. This kind of relay race drastically reduces project completion time and just skyrockets organizational efficiency. But beyond just saving time, these teams are a pure innovation engine. You're getting access to diverse worldwide talent, which research consistently shows challenges established assumptions and spikes creativity. Because you're throwing so many varying cultural perspectives into the mix, teams end up generating much broader, out-of-the-box ideas. Plus, you instantly expand your market reach by tapping into their localized knowledge of what customers actually want in those regions.
But it's not all smooth sailing. Section 4, Navigating Borderless Challenges.
While traditional teams can build rapport effortlessly around the office water cooler, naturally sharing a common language and culture, global teams operate in a much higher friction environment. You're navigating language barriers, different accents and expressions that mean wildly different things depending on where you are. You're also managing varied communication styles. Some cultures are deeply direct, while others require a much more indirect, consensus-driven approach. And on top of all that, you're battling the sheer technological chaos of dropped internet connections and the really tough process of building trust virtually. And because you aren't grabbing lunch together every day, building that virtual trust has to be incredibly intentional. It demands absolute transparency, consistent communication, and really proactive collaboration. If managers fail to recognize these fundamental differences in communication and work styles across their team, you're going to see some major productivity-killing conflicts bubble up fast. Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, leading across the globe. Leading a global team takes way more than just technical expertise.
Your real superpowers here have to be cultural intelligence and emotional adaptability. You absolutely need excellent communication skills and the ability to establish crystal-clear goals. A great global leader never forces a single country's work style onto the whole group. Instead, they build an inclusive, highly communicative environment where everyone feels safe sharing ideas or flagging concerns without the fear of being criticized.
Now, when cultural misunderstandings inevitably pop up, top-tier managers rely on a structured conflict resolution playbook. Step 1, you've got to address issues quickly through open discussion. Don't let it fester. Step 2, practice active listening. Step 3, apply that cultural intelligence. Before jumping to conclusions, try to understand why someone is behaving differently. A lot of times, what looks like a disagreement is really just a difference in cultural expectations. And step 4, bring in neutral mediators or HR if you need to facilitate a constructive reset.
But to make this whole structure actually work, organizations have to invest heavily in specialized training. We're talking cross-cultural programs that educate everyone on workplace customs and etiquette, and language training. Even just learning to say hello and thank you in a teammate's native language shows an immense amount of respect. Then you've got to bake in virtual team-building activities like informal online coffee chats and combine that with regular progress reviews and public celebrations of milestones. These little things forge incredibly strong interpersonal relationships across massive physical distances.
So it really boils down to this. Effective leadership, communication, and mutual respect can transform cultural diversity into an unbelievable competitive advantage. Microsoft is actually a perfect example of this in action. They operate in over 190 countries, and their product teams effortlessly bridge software engineers in India, designers in Europe, and project managers in the US. By combining advanced communication tech with a really strong, inclusive organizational culture, they've turned their diversity into a massive engine for long-term growth. So global teams are no longer just some futuristic concept. They are the baseline of the modern economy, giving us unmatched access to worldwide talent. But as this shift completely takes over, you have to ask yourself, are you prepared to lead, collaborate, and thrive globally? Understanding how to navigate this totally interconnected world is undoubtedly going to be one of your most valuable professional skills. So take the insights from today's explainer and seriously consider, are your skills ready for a completely borderless future?